There was a good conversation uploaded to YouTube this week where one of the panelists was the director of behavioral dating science at Hinge. And one thing she said resonated with a lot of males who watched the video. She said that while on the one hand, women right now want a man who is open with his feelings, that doesn't necessarily mean she's open to the man being open about his own feelings, about his own problems. What it really means is they want men who they can rely on and talk about their own emotions, and that the man is open emotionally to listening to their emotions. This hit home with a lot of men because it comes across as being uncaring, and that a man needs to remain kind of like a robot, and that his struggles only belong to himself, and that he can't rely on anybody else without being seen as weak or being pushed away. For someone who has lived in China, to me, this was an interesting conversation because when I dated in China, one thing that I heard was that girls weren't interested in a relationship being 50-50 or being a relationship that I was grown to believe was the moral way of having a relationship in the West. Actually, girls would say that if a guy sees a relationship as 50-50, it's not really a loving relationship because a man needs to put in more effort to look after the woman. And looking at this conversation now and looking at the gender problems in the West at the moment, it is really interesting how the communication has gone across over the past 10, 15, 20 years, or since really feminism in the 1960s. So we have a huge communication problem here where men believe that being open with their emotions doesn't just mean a one-way street, it means a two-way street. But if it is just a one-way street, do we really see relationships that differently in the West to China? Maybe not to the same extent, but we've always been saying that these places are more patriarchal. But their logic was simply that it is a man's duty to care more for his partner than the other way around because he is a man. While a lot of us in the West were led to believe that the idea of gender no longer really existed to the same extent. What do you think? Bye-bye.